Hello everyone, welcome to another Elfine comic video. I know it's been a long time since I uploaded, but now that 2020 started, I also want to give a fresh start to my channel. And what better other way than to start with my ranking of the Spider-Man movies. Now that we saw the latest Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, what better way is there for to start the channel than to tell you guys what I like about the Spider-Man movies, what I don't like, and how I'll rank them, in my personal opinion of course. I hope you guys like this video, so now, with nothing else to say, let's get to it. For number 9, this one's gonna be very controversial, but at least in my opinion this is probably my least favorite Spider-Man movie, and that's being Spider-Man 2 on Sam Raimi. Now, I really don't have anything against any Spider-Man movie, I love all of them. But this one, growing up, watching a Spider-Man movie was really not fun if all I saw was a kid with problems. Now that I'm older, I see that he had those problems for a reason, and it was very important for character development. But as a kid, who would like to see Spider-Man having to deal with not being able to pay the rent or having friendship problems? It was just something that never catch my eye and really never got my attention. Now growing up, I can understand better how the movie really works and why it's considered one of the best superhero movies. But at least in my opinion, since I always had that idea growing up, now that I'm older, I still see it kind of bad because other movies have more action, and now I understand the story better and I can appreciate it more. But still, pretty down on my list, but I really don't hate the movie. It's just not my favorite because I really love the Spider-Man movies. For number 8, we have I'll say this one's also controversial. I have Spider-Man Far From Home, but not controversial because of my choosing on being on the bottom, but because people really happen to hate this movie. I personally don't see it as really bad. I think it's really good. I think what Jake Gyllenhaal does to the character of Mysterio is amazing, and it's truly one of the greatest villains we have in the Spider-Man franchise. I really liked it, and I love seeing Peter Parker being more of a teenager in this one rather than the hero we were supposed to see, because we get to see that after No Way Home, which it's incredible. But what I don't like about this movie is the final scene where Peter has to battle the drones. That's not fun at all. I would like him fighting Mysterio full action fight rather than him having to battle these drones. That was lame and I didn't like it, and I hope we don't ever see something like that again in a Spider-Man film. For number 7, this is also gonna be controversial, but hear me out. For number 7, I have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but now this is not at all because this movie is bad. I love this movie. I really like this movie. But my biggest issue with this movie is that it's an animated film. We have tons and tons of Spider-Man animated shows, but I would love to have a live action Miles Morales or Spider-Verse. Again, I really love this movie, but I'm not really a big fan that they choose to go with an animation. I get it, they try to go for different styles and all that. I totally understand, but I still love the movie. But I really would have loved or preferred if it was a live action movie rather than an animated movie. But it is what it is. Hopefully we get to see a Miles Morales live action soon, because I would really love to see that happening very soon. But again, I love this movie, nothing against it. I just would choose to have it as a live action. For number 6, I have once again, the very controversial Spider-Man 3. But in this case, I really stand for this movie. I think this movie is fantastic in every possible way. When people say that this movie is cringe, I really don't see what they're talking about, or that this movie is bad. This movie is fantastic in all possible ways, in my personal opinion. I personally think this movie is great. I think the characters have a side of them that we have never seen, which is really cool to be able to explore. And now in this movie we get to see a darker side of Peter Parker, a darker side of Harry Osborn and Mary Jane. They show sides of them that we've never seen in previous movies, which is awesome. But again, maybe some people think that it was bad executed. I think it was perfect. I think what they did with the characters was risky, brilliant. I really liked it. I liked the villains. I think the development of Sandman was great. Venom was also really cool. The Hobgoblin, not so much, but it really wasn't his fault because the Sandman I really personally enjoyed seeing on screen. And I think this movie is fantastic. People really slip on this movie. I think this movie is awesome and it should be getting way more credit than it get. I personally think this movie is an iconic piece to the cinematic universe of Marvel, and to any movies, because this movie made so many memes and iconic scenes that not any Spider-Man movie is able to recreate. It's hard for a Spider-Man movie to make that impact in actual movies or how we perceive movies. And this movie got it done and it was perfect. I really love it. I stand for this movie, but I put it in this place because I personally like the other Spider-Man movies better. I'm not saying this one's bad. I love all the Spider-Man movies. I just put this one a little bit on the bottom, number 6, just because I think there are other movies that are a little bit better or I personally like a little bit more. But again, this movie is fantastic in all ways. For number 5, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. And the reason why this is number 5, because I'm in the middle with this movie. I personally think the third act of the movie is amazing. It's brilliant. It's what every fan wanted to see coming true. Having Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland in the same movie as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, that was fantastic. That was phenomenal. And having them interact was totally perfect. It was what we asked for, what we wanted, and we got it, and it was awesome. But my problem with this movie comes from the first and second act of the movie. The movie's kind of boring, long, kind of feels dumb, because you see Tom Holland trying to fix these villains, which in the end, there's a reason why they ended up dying. It's not like the other two Spider-Mans were horrorless and just wanted to kill them. No, they did try to help them, but Tom Holland was so focused on helping them and thinking he was better than the other Spider-Mans. And they show that throughout the movie. They think that MJ, Ned, and Tom Holland are better than the other Spider-Mans. I don't think he's better. I think the movie is focused too much on Tom Holland. I get it, it's his movie. But again, if you're gonna present the other two Spider-Mans, you have to show the respect that they deserve. And showing that they really didn't care about their villains and they just wanted to kill them, which didn't happen. They happened to die for a reason. Has a better explanation. I really didn't like how the movie went. It went too slow. And also, if we're gonna focus on Tom Holland, I really like the characters that we've seen in the first and second movie. Having like that teenage type of thing that was cool. Not having it was kind of boring, not so fun, because, and once again, we already seen different Spider-Mans defeat these villains. Now having Tom Holland defeat them was kind of boring and not so fun, because we already seen them. We trying to see something else. I think they could have kept this for longer and have like a bigger problem for the future, but in this one, like, make it something smaller so that we can see it in the next film. For number 4, I have The Amazing Spider-Man. I think this movie was amazing, literally, because it tells the new story of Spider-Man, because we were used to the Tobey Maguire, and this fresh starting for the character was really good. I really liked it. I think it was very creative, very unique, and it feels more modern. I think having this teenager Peter Parker with more of a nerdy look was a little bit of a better choice. Not having a Peter Parker who has to worry about paying rent, but having a Peter Parker who actually can worry about having a girlfriend and having a little bit of a social life, but also having that responsibility of being Spider-Man. I think that was really good. I think Mark Webb did a really good job. Andrew Garfield, I think, was the perfect cast for Spider-Man. He personally is my favorite Spider-Man, and I always stand behind him. Ever since the movie came out and the first time I saw him, I really liked it. I really liked him. I loved him in No Way Home. I really hope they make The Amazing Spider-Man 3. This movie was just too good. I think Emma Stone did an amazing job as a Gwen Stacy. It was really a fresh start that we really needed. A lot of fans got mad over this movie coming out. I understand, but I think it was something fresh for the character that needed to happen. For number 3, I have Spider-Man Homecoming. I think this movie, once again, was a really good fresh start for the character, because I personally got really sad when they announced that they were gonna cast a new Spider-Man. But when I announced it was gonna be Tom Holland, and we started seeing how athletic and how fresh he was to the character and how young he was, I started getting my hopes high for him. And then we saw him in Civil War, and he totally stole the movie. He was really funny, really good seeing on the screen, sharing screen with the Avengers. That was totally amazing. And having him in his own movie was really fun. I really enjoyed his movie. I loved all the characters, the Vulture, Flash, Liz, all those characters that appear in the movie, the comedy. I think Spider-Man Homecoming is a really fun movie, especially because it came out on my sophomore year, when I was planning on going to homecoming then, so this came out on perfect timing. I felt so connected to the movie, and it was not a Spider-Man for my generation, I feel, because I grew up more in the Andrew Garfield, but still love this Tom Holland. For number 2, I have the one that began with all. I have Spider-Man that came out in 2002. This movie I feel is very iconic. There's not a person who hates this movie. I'm pretty sure everybody loves this movie. Everybody loves Tobey Maguire. And this movie was really revolutionary. This movie came out when I was born. Again, I grew up more with the Andrew Garfield one. These ones are totally my childhood, of course. I watched the first, second, and third movie when I was really young. But when I got to the age of understanding movies, that's when I started watching Andrew Garfield, and that's why I feel more connected to the Spider-Man of Andrew Garfield. But Spider-Man from Tobey Maguire was so unique. Having his costume was so amazing, seeing it as a kid, and the villain, the Green Goblin, was so intimidating and fascinating. Having those colors, it was such a good movie to see. I was really in love with this movie when I saw it for the first time, and it was so amazing seeing it day after day. When I had the DVD, I really fell in love with Spider-Man because of this movie. This movie is totally fantastic, amazing. I don't think anyone has anything bad to say about this movie, but again, I love this movie. And for number 1, I have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Wow, what a fantastic movie this was. I feel like 2014 is a really slept on year for superhero movies. I think every movie that came out that year was amazing and phenomenal, and this movie was so epic to see on the movie theater. It was perfect. It was, I feel like, in my opinion, it's the greatest Spider-Man film of all time, because we have a little bit of everything. We have amazing action of Spider-Man, really huge deep personal problems of Peter Parker, and we have all these situations that put Peter in such a dilemma that he has to choose whether he has to be Spider-Man or Peter Parker, and if he's Peter Parker, can he still be with the love of his life? That was just truly amazing and phenomenal how Mark Webb developed this movie. I feel like this movie was too deep and emotional, and the ending of the movie is one of the saddest endings, not just in Spider-Man films, but also in all-time films. It was, I feel, very iconic and very epic to see, and the rise of Spider-Man at the very end of the movie when he fights Rhino is so emotional, sentimental, and deep and meaningful. I feel like that's what Spider-Man is supposed to be, what it's supposed to represent, and I really enjoy Andrew Garfield playing Spider-Man. He was so good in this movie, and again, very emotional movie. That's why I connect with it personally, because it was a movie that makes me feel really sad and feel bad for Spider-Man in a different level, because compared to the other Spider-Mans who lose their Uncle Ben or someone they loved, you know, this one is the girl. We have never seen a Spider-Man lose the girl who he loves, and that was truly fantastic and phenomenal. So there it is, guys. That's my ranking for the Spider-Man films. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you understand my points of views, and let me know which is your order of liking of the Spider-Man films. Alright, guys, sorry for being absent for too many months. It's almost a year, I think, since I made my last video. But I just lost kind of motivation for the channel. But right now, I kind of motivated more, so I want to put more effort into it. Trying to have different type of videos. I want to actually make my channel what I had the idea for before, but I never had a chance to. And right now, I really want to focus on it, and hopefully you guys still with me in this ride. I hope you subscribe, like, share, and please feel free to check this channel more often, because I have tons of ideas of new videos that I want to make. So stay tuned, guys. A lot of big things coming starting January 2022. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.